Do you want to see a story of more women taking L's out here in the workforce? Here is the latest news. A few weeks ago, I did a story about a large number of black women that are leaving the workforce. I believe they are getting laid off or fired, if you will. And most all of them were college educated and they worked in the government sector. Now, we all know the statistic about college educated women and women that are in the government workforce, especially black women. Now, this story affects women overall, and they're going to make some excuses about why there are a large number of women leaving the workforce. But there are more women or more men entering the workforce. Okay, they're going to make a lame excuse for this. Let's get into it. It's from CBS Morning. It's on YouTube, of course. So before we get into the reaction, fair use.
You might want to sit down for this next statistic about who's employed in America and who's not. Since January, for every man who entered the workforce, 4 women left it. Wow.
So you got that right. For every woman that left, for every man that entered the workforce, 4 women left the workforce. Now, there are some easy answers to this statistic or the reasoning behind this, but I want you to hear the excuse that they're going to make.
This year alone, here are the numbers. 44,000 men got jobs, while 212,000 women stopped working or looking for work. The percentage of working mothers with young children has dropped every single month since January, according to an analysis by the University of Kansas.
Okay, so you see the men employment going up while the women's unemployment going down. You also see that they have entered into this statistic or into the mix here, women with children. This is the group, or the, how would I say, the I guess the group that they are talking about. Okay, they're talking about specifically women with children. This is the demographic, that's what we're looking for, that they are speaking to.
Female employment had been declining for decades. Employment for mothers actually soared post-pandemic, thanks to
employment soared post-pandemic
to work from home flexibility. But that upward trend started to reverse this past January. So what changed? For starters, as you might be thinking, many employers, including the federal government, started rolling back work from home policies. And there's been a jump this year in the number of Fortune 500 companies requiring staff to return to the office. And listen to this. In more than 3/4 of the country, the average price of childcare for an infant is now higher than in-state college tuition. As they say, the math just ain't mathin'. And by the way, the United States is the only country with an advanced economy where the share of women in the workforce is declining, not growing.
Okay, so you see where this is going, right? That the peeling back, or the revocation, if you will, of the stay-at-home orders for a lot of these corporations has contributed to the women with children in the workforce declining. Now, this isn't for all women, all right? Because if you're single and you don't have any children, then you're good, right? So they're trying to say that, basically women with children have declined in the workforce because, well, they couldn't stay at home and they couldn't breastfeed their kids and do spreadsheets at the same time. And, they had an excuse that now they could have more options to work because they didn't have to go into the office, right? And so now, well, orange man bad. You peel back you contributed to this, that, now the corporations felt emboldened to make people go back to the office. And now the mothers, the women with children, are now at a disadvantage in the workforce because they couldn't stay at home. And I have my own opinion about this. And you probably already know what my opinion is. I think everybody, you should have never gotten comfortable with being at home, right? This was a 2-3 year thing because of the pandemic. It went away, and you thought you just changed this thing that were, okay, now I can stay at home regardless. You thought you was going to never go back to the office, and you thought this is a new thing now, right? For the future, that, okay, well, I can just stay at home with my kid and work. And there were some men caught up in this too, but mainly women was for the majority of this group. And guess what? Now they're complaining about it. If you've made it this far in the video and you're still here, thank you again for your viewership. And if you haven't done so already, please hit the like button. And if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button and that notification bell that way you can be notified whenever I go live or drop new content. Also, if you want to donate to the channel, please do so by hitting the Cash App $ Mr. Normie. And you can also go to my Ko-Fi page, ko-fi.com/workingmanmg. Also, I'm trying to build a community on Locals. So if you would, go please check out my Locals page and you can join for just $5 a month. You can post and we can build a community of like-minded working men over there. Thank you for your time. Now back to the video.
Here to talk about all of this is the person who analyzed this data, Misty Hegenis from the University of Kansas, who, by the way, again, served as principal economist at the Census Bureau previously. Professor, thank you so much.
She probably works from home too. She's probably one of the ones that's affected by this as well. Look at her. Yeah.
Joining us. So what's happened here? I mean, I remember during the pandemic, so many mothers felt like, finally, I can try to make this work. Has the work from home changed? And now that people have to go back into the office, has that made women reevaluate their priorities?
Yeah, thanks, Adriana, for having me. I think there's a lot of policy shifts that have happened in the labor market since January. We have seen a really strong effort on return to office led by the federal government, but other large private businesses have fallen in suit. The reduction in force of the federal government has also had an impact. Mothers and caregivers tend to, there's lots of research showing that they're willing to forego earnings.
By the way, they said that the cost of child care went up too. Now, they're probably going to blame that on the government as well, but let's be clear, the way the economy is going, everything is going up and it's not going back down. So I guess most of you, what they said that the child care cost is higher than tuition costs. I mean, what do you think was going to happen? Y'all can't even afford to pay your student loans. Do you think you're going to be able to pay for child care? Again, what do y'all think? What were y'all doing before the pandemic happened? Did y'all think that there was the things that were in place during the pandemic were just going to stay that way the rest of the time? Eventually, people took the mask off. Eventually, you're going to go back to work. Eventually, you got to interact with people in public. All those things that were buffers during the pandemic is gone now. And so, yes, you single mothers out there, you have to readjust. And if you can't, then you're going to be unemployed.
Other benefits like flexibility, and government jobs tend to be flexible. And so these type of efforts have disproportionately affected women and in particular mothers.
Is that why you took up this effort? I'm interested in what inspired you to do the analysis in the first place. And then once you did it, how surprised you were with the results and whether there are particular subsets of women or jobs that are affected.
Yeah, so a great question. During the pandemic, I, on the evenings and the weekends, had been crunching the numbers for parents, in particular mothers, because there was a lot of news reporting about labor force participation of women going down and then tying that to childcare. And when I looked at the numbers disaggregated by not only gender, but also parenthood, mothers were actually doing pretty well during the pandemic in terms of.
Okay. 2023, 70.8 women ages 25 to 44 in the U.S. workforce with children under the age of 5. Now, 2023, that was right at the height when the pandemic was starting to go away and all those kind of things. But some of the provisions that they had for the pandemic was still in place, i.e. working from home. So in 2021, when it first started, well, everybody was, most of these mothers were at home, right? That was at the start of it. Then 2022, it started going up because of work from home. So there were some mothers that took advantage of this. They were able to get jobs because a lot of these jobs were being employed from the house. They were getting computers and all those kind of things, make their own little office and blah, blah. It was nice and cozy, right? 2023 at the height of it. Now, 2024, 2025, boom. You got to go back to the office. Oh, crap. What am I going to do? I can't take care of my kid. I sunk all my money into other things. I can't afford childcare, right? Here we go.
Workforce participation. And the reason was because of that flexibility. And so back at it again, looking at the numbers now since January, since we've had a lot of shifts in policies related to flexibility, which we know from research disproportionately affects mothers.
So, Misty, I was struck by a quote that you gave the Washington Post on this subject, where you liken this moment to the part of the movie in Barbie where Ken takes over Barbie Land. Can you explain?
Okay, now they're going to throw some misogyny in here, right? With this Ken taking over Barbie Land thing, right? Like all the men are taking over. No, the men are taking over. The men have gone away from the college, type jobs, the degree type jobs. They're going back to more skilled labor, more blue collar stuff. And guess what? Because of that, we will always have a job because we can leave the corporate world and go back to freaking get our hands dirty and still have work. Now, it might not pay as much as the corporate world, but it's a paycheck. And if we're single, then we can still live okay. We can still live comfortable. But you, on the other hand, you have children. You need those office jobs because they pay more, they have better benefits. And you can't leave your kid for long hours at a time to go do the grueling jobs that we're doing. So now it's like, oh, well, the men are taking over the workforce. No, we've always had a better chance in the workforce than you because we can be more flexible than you can. That's just the breaks.
That comparison?
Yeah. So, when I look at what's going on right now, I really feel like we're living in a Kenergy economy in the sense that, we've got a lot of leaders who are really pounding their chest, really.
They're talking about the president.
Like, as in the movie Barbie, we've got a Mojo Dojo, Casa, White House, if you will, at least, January and February, there's a lot of that going on. That type of activity and effort really isn't sustainable long term. So one of the things that I keep on telling myself is, just as in the movie Barbie, some of these Kenergy vibes are probably going to dissipate relatively quickly. They're not.
Okay, wishful thinking. Oh, well, eventually, this will fade away and the women will retake their workforce, right? I mean, it's possible. We'll see. But as of right now, you're in a bind.
Not long-term solutions to the everyday lives of actual people and how we work in society.
All right, Misty, thank you so much for bringing attention to this. We appreciate it, Professor. That was today's By the Way. And by the way, the professor's book, Swiftonomics, How Women Mastermind and Redefine Our Economy, is available for pre-order right now.
Yeah, go get it if you want it. Anyway, you see, the motherhood and the workforce is not meshing together right now. And in my opinion, it likely will not for the future. But hey, again, there's always OF. There's always, other sites that you can go to gain other types of employment that doesn't require the office, if you will. All right. So, hey, there you go. And as for the men, well, we'll always have work, right? Until, the AI robots take over. Well, with that being said, thank you for attending another episode of Working Man Podcast. I am your host, Nicholas J. Fury. Let me know what you think. If you feel sorry for these women, the mothers in the workforce that, can't stay in the house no more. So they got to go back to the office. And, well, now they also need money for childcare, which, again, in a bind, right? Let me know what you think about it down in the comment section. Please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and the notification bell. We're out of the door. And remember, ladies with children in the workforce and looking for a job, reality checks are free. See you next time.